and welcome, Keyna.
Hello, thank you so much for calling. It's Keyna.
Oh, Keyna, I beg your
Wilkins.
pardon. Keyna
No
Wilkins.
worries.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about this this concert you've got happening, because it's really quite special, isn't it?
It's quite unique in many ways. So I'm a flute player and I know lots of amazing flute players, and we formed a quintet about 1 year ago, and we mostly played at charity fundraisers for different organizations that were getting food into Gaza and selling artworks from Gazan artists, basically kind of trying to raise money for people trying to survive currently in Gaza. Sometimes we were a trio, sometimes we were a quartet, sometimes we were a quintet. And then late last year, we kind of had the idea, why don't we just put all of our works together and create an album? All of us have either composed pieces or so we've kind of written the prompt for the improvisation. And we decided to call the album Armistice because that means kind of truce agreement, like pro-peace, basically. And we recorded it at A-Sharp Studios in December last year. Yeah, we're really, really pleased with how it came out. I think it's quite unique because there are a number of flute ensembles around, but not many are doing new music or partially improvised as well. So it's quite an unusual thing for flute players to do a lot of improvisation in the way that we do, and ensemble improvisation, so all of us spontaneously improvising at the same time. That's quite unusual as well. And what I'm also really proud of is all the amazing flute players in our group. So we've got Chloe Chung, who has toured extensively with the Australian Opera and Ballet Orchestra. She's released numerous albums as a duo and as part of ensembles. She's toured the world. She's a really fantastic player and improviser. She specializes actually in Chinese flutes as well as the Western flute. And then we've got Laura Chislett, who has an incredibly illustrious solo new music career, and she's toured the world numerous times as well. And then we've got Jessica Scott, who again kind of specializes in new music, and she's performed all over the world. She's recently come back from a master's in flute performance from the Royal Academy of Music in London. And we've got Liz Chung, who is a composer, improviser, and plays numerous instruments, flute, Chinese bowed instrument dizzy, and she's written one of the compositions. And and then there's me, and I'm a composer, improviser on flute and piano. But we've got 7 works, and
fabulous.
I've composed 2 of them, so I've composed every note in 2 of the pieces, and then the 3rd piece that I contributed to the album is actually with spoken word from a Gazan poet, Rafia Alarat, and he is quite a famous poet, and unfortunately he was killed in bombing in November 2023, but very recently before that he'd written this poem called If I Must Die. And it's a really epic, incredible poem, and in this composition we have Chloe Chung reading out the text of the poem, and then I've got like a guided improvisation around the text of the poem. It starts off quite bleak, as you would imagine, but then eventually it kind of like turns a little bit positive, because his kind of attitude is, hopefully it'll be a tale, hopefully people will tell the story, hopefully the story will get out there, and I found like this particular poem, it's quite famous in the movement, in the pro-Palestine movement. But of course we thought, well, of course we have to try and get, permission. We can't just use this poem without permission, right? So we did a bit of a search a few months ago, and I thought, oh, this is going to be like finding a needle in a haystack, because it's on so many websites, and it's even been printed on T-shirts, it's on billboards. Like, this is a very famous poem, right?
Right.
But then I found the contact details for his brother, so Rafia Alarat's brother, who actually managed to get to America a couple of years ago, so he was super lucky, and he's kind of managing the poems of his brother, and he wrote a really special poem email back to us. So when I said, oh, we'd really like to use your brother's poem, I don't know how we go about getting permission, we play at these kinds of events where we're trying to help raise money to feed starving people in Gaza and all that. And he wrote back saying, of course you have permission, thank you for all the work that you do.
Oh, so, isn't that lovely? Oh,
It was
wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And what's that piece called?
It's called If I Must Die. We have a concert this Sunday, 7 p.m. So that's Sunday, 14th of June, 7 p.m. At the Flute Tree Studio in Leichhardt. It's a really beautiful space. It started out as a flute shop, and it is still a flute shop, and it's also a flute repair shop. And it's quite close to Leichhardt main shops. And we are so excited to be launching our album there this Sunday.
If I must die, you must live. To tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze, and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself. Sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope.